And we're here right now with Mr. Norman Shippee, who has brought in all these wonderful items to share with the students during our Children and Seniors Together Cast Week. Mr. Shippee, maybe you could tell us about a couple of these things.
I got a couple.
Yes.
I got one to start with. I have a cast aluminum frying pan, and it says on it, it was made by my wife's uncle at Glenwood Range. And he made two of them, one for me and one for my twin brother. And mine is Norman Shippee, Raynham, Mass, Troop 1, with a Boy Scout.
Oh my gosh.
And this was made when we were in, just starting in Boy Scouts. So it's a long time ago.
So we've had Boy Scouts around town for quite some time.
And this was Troop 1.
Troop 1, wow.
Actually, yeah, they've been
There actually was a Troop 1.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And I have a set of ice tongs. And I also have with him the card that tells the iceman what he's going to deliver to the house. In order to save a trip in to see if they needed ice, they told the person what they wanted for ice before he came in. Mm-hmm. So we only had to make one trip.
Because that was heavy, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, well, they started at probably 10 pounds and went up.
Yeah.
And they carried them in with a set of ice tongs, and they picked up a piece of ice, and then they threw it over their shoulder. Well, of course, that meant they were going to get wet.
Yes.
So icemen, when they delivered ice, had a horsehide on that went from their neck and over their shoulder and on back and front, so that the ice could melt and then drip right off them.
Wow.
And they never knew what it was. And that was one of the things.
Mm.
The other thing, when we were young, we went after milk to the farm in Raynham. I don't think they even sold milk at the store at the time. But we used to go up the road to Bun Lincoln's.
And whereabouts was that?
Up on Broadway, pretty near to Elm Street.
Okay.
And you took your own bottles, and you'd washed them at home and everything. You took your own bottles. And you went, and there was a 275-gallon tank there with the milk that they'd mixed, and it was being stirred all the time. Mm-hmm. And you just took a dipper and filled your own, put a paper stopper on it, and went, well, that's the way milk came. And that was what sealed it, was all. And we did it ourselves that way. And by picking it up, we got it for 10 cents a quart.
Oh my gosh.
So that's
now, what about these smaller ones? Would this be for
and
the same thing?
Here's a quart.
Okay.
This is a half quart.
Yep.
That's fine.
Oh my goodness.
You could get any size you wanted.
Yeah.
When it came into the stores, you could get any size you wanted.
Right. Now, did they use this sign for anything besides milk? Because you also...
No, that was, the milk had
this was for ice.
Ice had their own.
Yep.
They did it for bakery. And what they did for fish and bakeries was they just had a card that says they wanted Cushman's Bakery.
Okay.
And then you had to go in because they had to pick what they wanted.
Oh, all right. Okay.
And fish, when you wanted to buy fish Friday, you had to pick out what you wanted.
Oh my goodness.
And so it made another trip. But that got them in the house and that's
Right.
like that. And so.
And you have some photos here of North School. You attended North School.
We attended North School.
Yeah.
And we have pictures.
Oops, wrong one.
Pictures of the teacher.
One here, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Shippee is a child growing up in Raynham.
That's my daughter, Stewart. Let's see, that's. Oh, wait a minute. We're on the wrong one, I think.
Okay.
We're on the wrong page anyway.
Right, it's further down, I think. Starts when you were younger.
There they are.
Yes.
Here's a picture of the class of 1940 and the 4 teachers that taught at North School. And there were 4 in Raynham Center and 4 in the South School.
So you had grades 1 through 4 all right in that one schoolhouse.
1 through 8.
1 through 8. 1 through 8.
1
Oh my
through 8,
gosh.
with 2 in each room.
2 in each room. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the teacher taught first grade and second grade.
Okay.
And swapped back and forth during the day. And I never remember anybody having any trouble. There were no fights, no arguments, no talking. You didn't dare talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When the teacher spoke, you paid attention.
Well, I remember in the 4th grade, Miss Guinea was, when she wanted your attention, she walked down and just grabbed the top of your head and pulled it up so you sat up straight.
Okay, that'll do it.
And one day, my twin brother and I went and we had crew cuts.
Ah.
She came down by him one day and she would put her hand down and there was no hair. She just slid it over to the side and grabbed an ear and she says, "I'd like to see you get that trimmed." And so, but it was a good time. They were all right, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And this is, what's this, Mr. Shippee?
That's my horse that I made.
Oh my
at home.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I had the pictures, there's the diagram.
Some of the things that you
And that's the way he was made, in pieces and stuff. See?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So,
And you did that all by hand.
yeah, well, I
Oh
used
my
power
God. Oh,
tools.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, not mass produced,
I
for
have
sure.
something else in the book that nobody has.
Mm.
This was what I had in class at Taunton High School. This is where I started woodworking.
Okay.
This is all the projects that we made,
Wow.
and I still have them.
Oh my goodness.
My
'Cause
mother saved them.
if people may not realize, but back then, after 8th grade, Raynham kids went to Taunton High School
Yes,
until
oh.
BR was opened in the 60s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was my senior project.
Oh my goodness, look
It's
at
at the house.
that. Wow.
That won't show very good on that.
Yeah.
And the others are just projects
Yep,
that we
that
made
you
in
did.
school.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So we have a lot of stuff like that, and then all of the other things I've done.
Mm-hmm.
I did this, made the wooden stool. My mother hooked the
Okay.
top.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Very, very nice.
chest I made, I
Yeah.
think, for my
And
dog.
tell us what this is.
That's a model of a boat. It's a model of an Essex schooner. No, you can't pick it up, it's heavy. And I brought it because that's how a boat starts in those days. They made a model to scale.
Okay.
And then as they went along, they drew that on the floor of a shop,
Okay.
full size.
Mm.
And they could get every piece of wood, like inside, all the ribs and everything that they wanted, you see, off the book like that.
Mm-hmm.
And today, it's all computer. Yeah, my grandson was at the house Saturday. He's a computer bug, nerd, whatever you want to call him. But he had with him a little blue block, about 3 inches square. And he says, "Here, look at that." And I picked it up and it unfolded flat. You could unfold it the other way, you could fold it any way you want, but it would go back into the cube. And he says, "I just made that on the computer." He used a new computer
Yes.
that does the stuff, made the whole damn thing himself. I said,
Amazing,
"Well, how the
isn't it?
heck did you afford the machine?" Oh, he says, "I had a buddy that couldn't make it work." He says, "I got it for nothing, practically." He says, "It just takes time."
This takes time. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness.
Oh, these
Excellent.
kids are doing computers.
Mm.
I got 2 grandsons. I know he just got a $7,000 raise.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Shippee, we want to thank you so much for bringing in some of your treasures and sharing it with us once again this year for Castle.
Yeah, oh yeah, thank you.